those at that place.
We should.
The time is 6:00 p.m. I will call this meeting of the Miami Township Board of Trustees to order. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Posey.
Here.
Mr. Morris. Here. Mr. Culp.
Here.
Chief Stiegelmeier, you have the reading of casualties.
Good evening, Board. The following is the first responder casualty list for the period of February 2nd through February the 15th of 2022. Sergeant Chris Jenkins, the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, Tennessee. End of watch February 3rd, 2022. Firefighter Austin Smith, St. Paul Fire District, Oregon. End of watch February 3rd, 2022. Captain Colin Burney, Flint Police Department, Michigan. End of watch February 4th, 2022. K9 Nitro, York County Sheriff's Department, Nebraska. End of watch February 8th, 2022. And Officer James McWhorter, Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, Florida. End of watch February 12th, 2022.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. We have no guests and presentations. The next item is the consent agenda. I move we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
Mr. Morris. Aye. Mr. Culp.
Aye.
New business. The first item is resolution number 23-2022, a resolution approving participation in Region 8 governance structure under the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding. Administrator Hess.
Good evening, Board. Mr. Morris brought this to my attention last meeting. As you're aware, back in 2021, Ohio entered an agreement with the three largest distributors of the opioids for a $808 million settlement. And under that agreement, the breakdown is that 55% goes to a statewide foundation, which is One Ohio, 30% goes to local governments, and 15% goes to the state of Ohio via the Attorney General's office. We've already entered into a MOU with the Attorney General's office for that. There's nothing been out yet on how the distribution to the local governments will be, but recently the Ohio Township Association came out with this resolution to participate, and the state is broken into 19 regions. 8 or 9 of them, I believe, are metropolitan regions. So Montgomery County is number 8. This is not money that comes to us directly. It comes to this board, this region, and it's for approved programs that is decided by this region. So this resolution will, by the board, will allow us to be part of the board of that region. Once this is approved, this will go to the OTA. The resolution will. Now this is a 18-year settlement, so this will go on for quite a long time. If there's any questions I can ask or answer for you that were not in the memorandum, let me know.
Any questions for Administrator Hess? Next resolution is number 24-2022, a resolution to enter into a services agreement with Sundog Analytics, LLC. Chief Stiegelmeier.
Again, good evening, Board again. As we discussed in a previous work session, this is a request to get into a new service agreement with Sundog LLC. And what this is for is to help us convert our legacy data on our old RMS system with Premier One into our new Spillman software so we can access all our old reports and data that we did have prior to switching dispatch services. I had all the information inside the contract for you. How this contract, or service agreement I should say, is going to work is they're going to be billing us an hourly rate of $125 an hour to convert all of our data to a SQL database built on our server, and it's not to exceed a total dollar figure of $40,000. And I'm available for any questions if you have any.
Any questions for the Chief? Thank you, Chief. The next item is a motion to schedule a public hearing for nuisance abatement at 5562 South Union Road. Andy Rice.
Good evening, Board. I come before you tonight to discuss two code enforcement cases and nuisance procedures for 5562 South Union Road and 5128 Mallet Club Drive. First case we'll go over is 5562 South Union Road. Now, this is a complaint we received from Miami Township resident. The parcel, as you can see there, is located roughly halfway in between Manning Road and Bear Creek Road on Union Road. And the case centers around 3 inoperable vehicles located at the property. Now, our first inspection was October 6, 2021, 2 black vehicles photographed on blocks and jacks without front wheels, and 1 white commercial van that was not registered. Notice of violation letter was sent on October 7th of 2021. Proceeding with the case history, November 1st, 2021, second inspection. No further action had been taken to correct the violations. Doors on both vehicles remained open, and both vehicles remained on jacks without front wheels. On with the case history, December 16th, 2021, doors on both vehicles have been left open. As you can see there, they're still both up on jacks. Wheels haven't been replaced. Some of those pictures are from 2 different times, I believe December 16th and then late December is the last case, but no changes had been made. But the white commercial van has been removed, but the black sedans still remain. I sent another violation to the property owner to clarify that the violation still exists, because some action with the white van had been taken, but none with the black sedans. And then here's a current picture that I was able to get today of the condition of the property. As you can see, the vehicles are in the exact same state as they have been in. So the Ohio Revised Code requires a hearing to be held on the violation notice, and in this section it requires motor vehicles meet the following criteria: 3 model years old or older. Vehicles are a little dated. Apparently inoperable. The front ends of both vehicles are on the blocks and jacks, and then they both have missing wheels and tires, so it fulfills all this criteria. Basically, the Ohio Revised Code requires a public hearing to be held to abate the nuisance. And the 20-day appeal time period for this owner has passed. So, moving on to our second case, 5128 Mallet Club Drive. This parcel is located off Keystone Club, which is off of Lamb Road, on the loop, which is Mallet Club Drive. And this is a complaint from a Miami Township resident we received focusing on a washing machine being left to the side of the property, the house, the primary structure. A warning notice was sent January 20th of 2022, and notice of violation was sent January 31st, 2022. This is not an owner-occupied house, and none of the letters were returned. Here's the current condition of the house from photos taken today. Washing machine has remained there. The Ohio Revised Code provides the township trustees the ability to abate violations such as garbage, refuse, and other debris. And then, of course, Miami Township Resolution 53, 2012, a nuisance, defines what a nuisance would be, which this case fits what the Miami Township resolution defines as a nuisance. And as with the other case, a public hearing must be held to abate the nuisance. The appeal period for this case ends next Monday, February 21st, and after that is when the public hearing can be held. Thank you.
Mr. Rice, I have a question. When you send the notices to the owners, do you also mail the notices to the property address?
In the case of the washing machine, so Mallet Club Drive, I do also mail notices to the property itself. With the other house on Union Road, that house does not have a resident in it, and it is clearly abandoned.
Sure, I saw the ply wall and the spray paint and everything else.
Yeah. It is pretty much my standard procedure to send one to a courtesy letter, more or less, to the resident as well as the property owner who receives the notice of violation.
So for those who may be watching this or listening online, can you define what abate nuisance means?
Sure. So the abate nuisance would be the process after a hearing where the township would, in the first case, go out and remove the vehicles from the property, and in the second case, go out and remove the washing machine from the side of the house. The reason we are requesting a hearing to be held on both of these cases is due to the larger financial value of these cases as opposed to removing, say, a trash bag or mowing grass. So since these are kind of more high value items, we want to hold a hearing before we make the decision or go ahead with the removal. So
when the washing machine and then the vehicles, we pay for someone to remove them, where are they taken, and then what happens to them?
correct. We have a contractor. They would go out and remove the washing machine and dispose of it at a dump. With the vehicles, this is something that I might have to refer to Mr. Carlson.
Yeah, generally, the contractor, as part of their responsibility is removal. They could either junk it or scrap the vehicle themselves. Ultimately, then the cost of all labor performed is placed back on the property as a tax lien, ultimately responsible of either the current owner or a future buyer. So all cost is assessed back again to a property owner, initially paid for out of our code enforcement budget, but hopefully recoverable eventually. But again, like Mr. Rice said, everything is junked or scrapped. In cases of larger items like this, it is essentially given to the towing company for them to deal with past the abatement process.
Yeah, I would just maybe look into the process. I know a number of communities appear to use this process to collect old abandoned vehicles, and they end up on the GovDeals site with no keys, no title, no nothing, but it becomes somewhat of a source of revenue there, but they have to endure the cost of storing those vehicles. In this particular case, you've got 2 Jaguars. There might be worth more than if we're just paying for somebody to remove them. So I just look into that just for whenever you've got something of value here, clearly a washing machine. I just don't know the full extent of that process.
Mr. Morris, anything with a VIN or title such as vehicle, either us or the tow company would have to file through the state of Ohio to have a salvage title before they would be able to dispose of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, typically those are removed at the towing company's cost, because they'll ultimately get, if they can recover those costs through that
So we're not going to
process.
pay to have these things towed if they have value. They're basically say we'll pick it up for free because it has value.
Yeah, not typically. We have not paid to have them towed, but obviously in the case of the washing machine, we'll have to pay to have that disposed of.
Just take a quick check. I mean, if that Jaguar is has any value, I wouldn't want to lose that opportunity to get that income if that's available to us. Don, do you need a new washing machine?
Dishwasher.
Dishwasher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can find one of those.
Thank you, Mr. Rice.
Thank you for the questions.
Next item on the agenda is resolution number 25-2022, a resolution to approve amendments to the appropriation of funds for 2022. Mr. McCord.
Good evening, Board. Resolution 25 is a request to amend the appropriation to purchase a new uninterrupted power supply unit for the administration building server room. Got a notice this past month that current unit is reaching the end of its life and is no longer going to be serviceable by the vendor. And so we reached out and obtained some quotes from our current IT management group, as well as I did a little comparison shopping online just to kind of reality check that, provided all that to you in the reading material. And this, because of the delays we're experiencing with some other electronic equipment, we decided to go ahead and present this and get going on this, even though we're looking at doing some other investment in IT potentially with our federal funds.
Any questions for Mr. McCord? You have the next resolution, number 26-2022, a resolution to approve a then and now purchase order for police dispatch services for the first quarter of 2022.
Yes, again, this is a housekeeping rule, housekeeping measure on our part. With the new conversion, the new system and the conversion at year end, we didn't get ahead of, and one of them slipped through for the first quarter charges for the new dispatch service out of Kettering. So to ensure that we've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, I went ahead and brought this forward as a then and now for that first quarter. The remaining 3 quarters are now on a standalone purchase order for Kettering, and we should not have a problem with this in the future.
Anything for Mr. McCord? Any public comments today? We'll move to consider the vote of resolutions and motions. I will make a motion that we approve resolution number 23-2022, a resolution approving participation in Region 8 governance structure under the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Posey,
Aye.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 24-22, a resolution to enter into a services agreement with Sundog Analytics LLC.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Posey,
Aye.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for abatement of a nuisance at 5562 South Union Road, Miamisburg, Ohio 45342. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Posey,
Aye.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for a nuisance abatement at 5128 Mallet Club Drive, Miamisburg, Ohio. Excuse me, Dayton, Ohio 45349. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Posey,
Aye.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye. Make a motion to approve Resolution 25-2022, a resolution to approve amendments to the appropriation of funds for 2022.
I will Go ahead, Don.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Mr. Posey,
Aye.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
I'll make a resolution to approve, a motion to approve Resolution 26-2022, a resolution to approve a then and now purchase order for police dispatch services for the first quarter of 2022. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Posey,
Aye.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
We have no public hearings today. The next item on the agenda is department head comments. Mr. Hess.
I'd like to take this time to thank Mr. Mayberry and his crews for the great job they did clearing our streets during this event we had a couple weeks or a week and a half ago with the ice and the snow. I think we got a little bit more snow than they predicted, and we definitely got a little more ice than they predicted. And because of the rain prior to the ice, we were unable, or they were unable to put anything down. But for our citizens, I just want to remind them that when it's anticipated that we have a large amount of snow, that the best they can, they need to remove their cars from the streets. Our plows need to get through. They're not going to, their cars are going to get blocked in. There's no other way around it. I know our crews don't purposely try to do that, but our crews will also not come back and remove the snow once the citizens get the cars out of the street due to the amount of roadway we have. Also, driveways, unfortunately, will get plowed in. Our crews try not to do plow it in as terribly, but it is going to get plowed in, and our crews will not come back and clear out your driveway. So if they take precautions ahead of time, the inconvenience is less, but we have over 90 miles of roadway that is our responsibility to plow, and we use, besides our public works employees, we use our parks workers, we use our fleet maintenance workers to get everything done. But as I said, I want to commend him and his crew for an outstanding job they did.
Thank you. I will pass that along to crews. They deserve all the credit.
Any other department head comments? Elected officials' comments. Mr. Newell.
I have none.
Mr. Culp.
I have none.
Mr. Morris.
I have nothing.
I also have nothing. We have no work session today. It is now 6:19. I'll make a motion that we go into executive session for 2 purposes. First is conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action in accordance with ORC Section 121.22, subsection G3. The second is to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, for the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless the public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual requests a public hearing in accordance with ORC Section 121.22 G1. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
It is now 6:20. We will be going into executive session and will not be returning for any more work. Thank you all, and have a good night.